From KCRG TV9, your 24-hour news source. Welcome to this Show You Care special, 9 Who Care.
Welcome to this Show You Care special. I'm Liz Mathis. Every year, a panel of independent judges sift through nomination forms to choose a select few we call our 9 Who Care. These are people that give of themselves for the betterment of the community. They become 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winners. Claude Brown of Hudson is a leader of distinction for the Boy Scouts and a dedicated American Red Cross volunteer. A steadfast mentor and presenter for the Children of Promise program, Roxanne Dittmer believes in investing in our children. Sue Frederick of Marion is a caring counselor, mentor, tutor, and friend to all at Aid to Women. A voice for the elderly, Shirley Gadelman of Clarence lobbies for the rights of older Iowans. Abby Martin of Marion is a student at Linn-Mar High School who's already a seasoned volunteer, even traveling to Africa on a church mission trip. A volunteer director of the Iowa Trails Council for 22 years, Tom Neenan of Center Point, can account for 10,000 acres put to public use all across Iowa. A welcome friend to those in need is Mrs. P. from Lone Tree. We're recognizing Gwyneth Parizek for her work at Camp Courageous. Gail Pierce of Cedar Rapids instills life back into those who feel their lives are being taken away as he gives guidance to those losing their sight. And Peter Tian of Cedar Rapids has represented the American Red Cross on local, state, and national levels responding to devastation by natural disasters. Each of our 9 Who Care will get $500 for their favorite charity. Now, you may have called your friend or family member a lifesaver at some point, but you probably didn't mean it literally. When people say Claude Brown saved their life, they truly mean it. KCRG TV9's Mark Geary reports.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Every minute matters when a person stops breathing.
Check for pulse.
A 3-hour lesson from Claude Brown can teach you what to do during a critical moment.
I can help people, and I enjoy it. I really think I'm good at what I do.
Brown has taught 3,000 people CPR over the past 40 years.
Shock advised.
His students have saved countless lives.
Deliver shock now. Press the orange button now.
He's so willing to show up and always do it that he takes the place of probably a normal 15 or 20 volunteers for most chapters.
You're the one that's going to save the life.
When he's not helping save people, he spends time with children.
In 2 weeks, we're going to go up to Marble Rock.
During his 48-year stint as a scout leader, Brown has inspired generations of kids.
He's fairly talented and can do a lot of stuff. He always does fun stuff.
And of course, no one leaves his troop without learning a little CPR.
If something happened to me, I know you can take care of me. A lot of times I will say, God wanted me to do this. He gave me the ability to be a good trainer, a good teacher, and why don't I use them skills that I have?
You okay? You okay?
Few people can say they've saved more lives than they can count. Few people can say they've stuck with anything for nearly 5 decades. Claude Brown is one of those people.
Check for a pulse.
And if he hasn't touched your life yet, it's only a matter of time.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
In Waterloo, Mark Geary, KCRG, TV9 News.
Brown also finds time to bake cookies with his wife for local charities and less fortunate people. Now, kids look to adults to boost their spirits when times get tough. Roxanne Dittmer is the perfect cheerleader. As KCRG TV9's Claire Kellett reports, this 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winner keeps kids moving in the right direction.
How about this? Uh-oh, where does it go?
Young at heart with a heart of gold.
I know. She can get it. She's working hard.
Roxanne Dittmer dedicates her days to keeping kids on track.
Every child has the opportunity to be or do anything that they want to do. I truly believe that.
A belief that fuels her passion for early childhood education.
Okay, there's your L. What's next?
Over the years, she's helped hundreds of kids overcome troubling situations.
Are you doing the M from mechanic?
But none quite like 15-year-old Rayanne Mason.
If I didn't have rocks in my life, I would be not as stable as I am now.
8 years ago, Rayanne's stepfather started serving time in jail. Not an easy adjustment for a second grader.
I would say I was a bad child, but she says I was just angry.
But those negative emotions sparked a positive relationship.
The way she listened to me, because nobody else would.
Talking sessions at school turned into afternoon outings followed by dinner dates.
Did you bring your science book with you?
Now a freshman in high school, Rayanne still relies on Roxanne.
Never really got off my knee, that's what I've always said. Never been able to shake her loose from my leg.
The two touch base every day.
A compound can be broken down.
And that attachment has helped Rayanne reach admirable goals, like a full ride to Kirkwood Community College.
She has taught me to never dwell in the past because I could get stuck.
So instead, Rayanne looks to the future, a future full of opportunity, but more importantly, one that includes Roxanne.
She's always will be there, and I know that. So she's my best friend.
Best friends for life. In Cedar Rapids, Claire Kellett, KCRG TV9 News.
Roxanne Dittmer will be donating her $500 award to the Children of Promise Mentoring Program. It helps kids with incarcerated parents. What makes our award winners so special is that they give of themselves. Next, we'll introduce you to a former teacher who finds education doesn't stop with retirement. And the death of a family member sparks this person's dedication to helping others.
This Show You Care special is brought to you by Collins Community Credit Union, Cedar Rapids Toyota Scion, Carlos O'Kelly's, and Mercy Medical Center.
Welcome back to the Show You Care special. A caring counselor, mentor, and tutor. That's a short way to describe the volunteer career of Sue Frederick. As TV9's Dave Franzman reports, this Nine Who Care Jefferson Award winner is putting her faith into action.
But I love doing the counseling because I love being able to bring some hope and some light to the women.
As an aid to women counselor, Sue Frederick helps with pregnancy testing and talks to women about options and assistance from the pro-life group. But she also tends to the physical needs, working long hours in the food pantry or organizing the baby supplies given to new mothers.
Director at the time came to our church to speak about aid to women. And after listening to her, I just knew that that's where I wanted to spend my time.
The retired teacher first began spending volunteer time here about 15 years ago. She shares homemaking skills by teaching clients to sew or cook. But her biggest job is simply to listen and care.
And these women, some of them have lived a lifetime by the time they're 16. You know, lives that you and I would not want to live. And I love listening to their stories and feeling their pain with them and then trying to help them understand how they can maybe make some changes to make life a little bit better.
She's always looking for a way to help, to use the time that she has here to really do the most that she can.
And a love of helping others is something Sue is trying to pass on to another generation. She often brings grandkids Connor and Kyle to help during a volunteer shift. It's her way of teaching by example. Dave Franzman, KCRG, TV9 News.
Sue Frederick is donating her $500 award to Aid to Women of Cedar Rapids. You only grow wiser with age or more involved, and the next Nine Who Care recipient is living proof of that. And as TV9's Josh Hinkle tells us, she's ignoring her age and caring for an aging population.
We're at Margaret's house now, Margaret Dunbar.
She doesn't use email, and she doesn't have a cell phone. But this 72-year-old might be the most connected woman in Cedar County.
Well, Margaret, what's for dinner today?
Today, Shirley Gettleman is serving hot meals to seniors.
Oh, I think it's great. And she's friendly, too. It just gives you such a good feeling right there, you know.
Her life as a volunteer started after her 25-year-old son, Kevin, died in a house fire.
After he was gone, it was either bah humbug to Christmas or keep so busy that you don't have time to be blue.
After Kevin died, Shirley found out she had cancer, but she decided she wouldn't feel sorry for herself when so many other people needed her help.
You can always find some good at everything.
Serving meals is just part of her work. During yearly trips to the state capitol, she deals with state lawmakers on issues for seniors. She just finished a 2-year term chairing the Cedar County Task Force, making seniors aware of the services available to them. She also sits on the board for the county's volunteer services, the food pantry, and the Red Cross. And even with this full schedule, every morning you'll still find her on the family farm milking cows.
Get up at 3, but it's worth it.
When lunchtime rolls around and it's time to serve meals, this 72-year-old has already had a 9-hour volunteer day.
They think I work too hard and do too much, and I say, hey, keeps you slim and trim.
She says her real motivation comes from knowing she's helping a group of people that can't always help themselves.
They make my day better in the process, too.
In Clarence, Josh Hinkle, KCRG, TV9 News.
Shirley will be giving her $500 to Volunteer Services of Cedar County to provide transportation to seniors in Cedar County. Now, you don't have to be a certain age in order to volunteer your time. This Jefferson Award winner finds helping others appealing even though she's only 17. And sometimes volunteering is challenging, especially when controversy is involved. We'll explain when we return. She's put in more than 160 hours of volunteer time at her high school alone, and Abby Martin decided that wasn't enough. So she decided to cross the Atlantic to help others. TV9's Ashley Hinson has more about this amazing Nine Who Care Award winner.
She's got quite the impressive resume, and Abby Martin is just 17 years old. This Linmar High School junior is a member of the band, National Honor Society, an award-winning Girl Scout, and an active member of her church. And she, of all people, has already learned what it means to be a volunteer.
I just like it. I like the feeling that you get inside when you do something good, like you know that you're doing the right thing and helping others, and if they need you, then you're there.
People close to Abby say this Nine Who Care award winner leads by example, helping others. And that's proved especially true after Abby worked with children on her church's mission trip to Mozambique, Africa.
She's someone who's mature for her age, was able to teach in Africa from what she learned here.
Mostly I just had to wing it, and sometimes I had a translator, but you never knew when they were going to show up.
And Junior Girl Scouts. So already a big part of Abby's teenage life has been her time spent devoted to helping others. So how does she fit it all in?
I have no idea. I just schedule stuff, I guess. Our calendar is so full you can hardly read the days sometimes, but I work too, so I work on my free time. I guess I don't really have that much free time.
It's obvious that Abby's got an unwavering commitment to helping others, and she shows us how much she cares every time she smiles. Ashley Hinson, KCRG, TV9 News.
Abby says she hopes to someday go back to Africa and help children again, but for now, she'll focus on volunteering closer to home. Now, the next time that you take a leisurely bike ride down the Cedar Valley Nature Trail, you can thank Tom Neenan. His name might not be a household word, but in some circles, he's known as the father of the Cedar Valley Nature Trail.
They put up new mile markers.
2 friends, 1 trail, and thousands of volunteer hours.
I can appreciate everything Tom did to get this thing through.
Tom is Tom Neenan, who back in the early 70s took up a controversial project.
People came and screamed and yelled and shook their fists and just upset the whole meeting. I mean, it just took over.
That was at a public meeting about developing a trails project across 4 counties, from Cedar Rapids to Waterloo.
I really put pressure on them to bring it across Iowa.
Landowners were mad. They wanted the adjacent property when the railroad was about to abandon its right-of-way. The Trails project won out.
And today, those same people, however, are supporters, a lot of them.
Through the years, the trail has improved and stretched from Hudson to south of Cedar Rapids, 70-plus miles. In the meantime, he founded the statewide Iowa Trails Council.
We have acquired now almost 800 miles of railroad rights-of-way that have been converted to trails.
The retired businessman isn't a hiker or a biker. He learned a lot while serving on the Lynn County Conservation Board and credits them with holding their ground.
We're fortunate getting it in Iowa.
But Neenan's success doesn't break at the trail. He was the mayor of Center Point and helped pave roads, improve water and sewer systems, and build the town's library, all in about 2 years' time.
I guess maybe something had to do with it, the fact that I couldn't understand why things were that way.
Said like a true leader. Liz Mathis, KCRG, TV9 News.
Tom's an avid promoter of the Iowa Trails Council, and you can learn more by going to iowatrails.org. Now, people typically volunteer for one organization. Gwyneth Barizik volunteers for about a dozen. She's known as Mrs. P. Some say it's easier to pronounce, but it could also be an effort to save time to allow for more volunteering. It's no wonder Mrs. P is one of KCRG TV9's 9 Who Care award winners.
Mrs. P spends so much time volunteering, but we found her at her one paying gig, selling tickets to the Lone Tree High School basketball games.
Hi there, James. How are you?
In Lone Tree, just about everyone is on a first initial basis with Mrs. P. And it's not because she's taking their money.
10 for all of you. Yeah, thank you.
She volunteers at many different organizations, including the library, the Lone Tree Museum, and Camp Courageous.
Camp Courageous is my newest one, and it's been 17 years since I started doing Camp Courageous.
With all the time she donates, Mrs. P was still surprised to be named as one of the 9 Who Care.
When he did the interview, I told him not to hold his breath because I didn't think I'd win.
But she did win. Just about anyone in Lone Tree can explain why.
And anytime something needs to be done, you know, we can go to Mrs. P and we can depend on her.
Mrs. P writes a column for the Lone Tree Reporter. Again, it's volunteer work.
She's wonderful, and she does love to write, and she does love to tell everybody stories and that. So it's just, you know, her way of being able to talk to the community, which is nice.
At Lone Tree basketball games, Mrs. P will take your money.
There's 10, and there's 20. Thank you, sir.
But she's making a positive change in so many people's lives.
Mrs. P has done amazing work with Camp Courageous. For 8 years, she's led a bus tour down to Branson, Missouri. Well, many volunteers help people with disabilities, but our next award winner uses his vision problem to help others. And this man answers the call for help at not only local disasters, but national disasters like 9/11 and Katrina. Vision loss is a frightening thing, but there's a man in Cedar Rapids who not only understands those fears, he helps eliminate them. He does that through his volunteer work at the Aging Services Vision Enhancement Center. That's why we've honored Gail Pierce as one of our 9 Who Care.
I see well enough to get myself into trouble, but not well enough to get out of trouble.
Gail Pierce can make light of his situation because being legally blind has never held him back. After more than 33 years as a rehabilitation counselor at Kirkwood Community College, he's now a volunteer at the Vision Enhancement Center in Cedar Rapids. Here he helps people, primarily the elderly, who develop serious vision problems like macular degeneration.
I hope with my background in education and local resources and knowledge that I can, give some of that information and knowledge to others to help them. And then you have to focus it.
Gail lost most of his vision when he was a boy, and because of his life experience, he can ease the concerns and fears of the people he's helping.
And a lot of the people say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. Well, there are alternate ways of doing things.
The center's volunteer coordinator, Carol Luth, nominated Gail for 9 Who Care because of his enthusiasm and understanding.
He's oftentimes the first person that people will come into contact when they come into our agency, our organization, and he's able to gently guide them.
And it's just a matter of exposing them to them or getting them signed up or referred to the right people so that they can do things differently.
We'll get a call in the afternoon and they'll like, Gail's not there? Well, I'll call back later.
What it does, it scans that material.
And after helping thousands of students at Kirkwood and now hundreds of clients at the Vision Enhancement Center, Gail Pierce has no plans to slow down.
Well, everybody tells me what a wonderful thing I'm doing. Well, people don't realize when you're volunteering, you're helping other people, but you're also making yourself feel good.
Bruce Owney, KCRG TV 9 News.
Gale says he never expected to be recognized for his volunteer work. He donated his $500 to the Vision Enhancement Center. Peter Tian grew up in a funeral home, and his experience as a funeral director helps him handle large-scale tragedies like the ones he responds to as a volunteer for the American Red Cross. TV 9's Beth Malicki reports on this Nine Who Care Jefferson Award winner who is always ready to answer the call.
It's been a real challenge for
When people seek shelter from the storm, Peter Tian chases it.
We're just beginning to serve people in both Katrina and Rita.
As a volunteer spokesperson with the American Red Cross, he tells the stories of sorrow and survival.
That's the reward of being a volunteer, is being able to reach out and be there in the midst of crisis to see how you can help people cope with the worst day of their life.
From comforting families who have lost loved ones to a tsunami or urging residents of New Orleans to leave their homes, Tian has been at the center of more than 40 disasters. When working with the youngest victims, he draws from personal experience.
When we're dealing with children and when we're dealing with the loss of their parent, it pulls back the heart cords from years past of when my father died. I was 12 when he died, and my whole world came shattering down.
When the Red Cross calls, Tian has 4 hours to get on a plane and head to the crash site or tornado aftermath. His bags are always packed, and his sense of purpose is unwavering.
Disaster after disaster, you look for those opportunities to make meaning and sense of why you're there, why you're trying to make a difference.
A father of 4 from Cedar Rapids, whose face and voice reach around the world, bringing answers and reassurance to those in the midst of unimaginable loss.
Tian is also the founder of the 4th of July celebration in Cedar Rapids, the Freedom Festival. And those are our 9 Who Care Jefferson Award winners. To learn more about the Jefferson Awards, just go to our website and click on the special news links icon. Thank you for watching the Show You Care special. If you know of someone who volunteers their time and talents to community service, then take note and nominate an outstanding volunteer in November to be part of our 9 Who Care for 2008.